The nasopharynx is essentially the upper part of the throat, behind the nasal cavity. The researchers focused on how this area changes during breathing in pugs and French bulldogs.
Exactly. The paper highlights that dynamic nasopharyngeal collapse, which is the partial or complete blockage of this airway during breathing, is considered a significant contributor to brachycephalic syndrome. It occurs due to the soft palate moving upwards or the pharyngeal wall moving downwards during inhalation.
The traditional way to diagnose and assess the severity of this collapse has often relied on visually estimating how much the nasopharyngeal opening is reduced during fluoroscopy, which is a kind of moving X-ray. The paper points out that this visual estimation can be subjective, and there hasn't been much research into how consistent these estimations are between different observers or even the same observer at different times.
And that's crucial, isn't it, Stefan? If we want to objectively understand nasopharyngeal collapse and evaluate the effectiveness of any surgical treatments, we need reliable and consistent methods of assessment. This study aimed to address this gap by comparing how well different observers agreed on measurements of nasopharyngeal dimensions during breathing using fluoroscopy in these breeds. When looking at the maximal dimension of the nasopharynx during exhalation, both the functional and anatomically adjusted methods showed good consistency both within the same observer and between different observers.
That's a positive start, at least for the maximal opening. What about the minimal dimension, the point of greatest narrowing during inhalation?
For the minimal dimension, the functional method showed good consistency within the same observer, but only moderate consistency between different observers. Interestingly, the anatomically adjusted method showed moderate consistency within the same observer, but good consistency between different observers.
That's a bit of a mixed bag then. It seems the choice of method might influence whether consistency is better within an individual or between different people.
Precisely. The researchers also looked at the ratio of the change in nasopharyngeal dimensions, which they called delta L. For this measure, the functional method demonstrated good consistency within the same observer and moderate consistency between different observers. The anatomically adjusted method showed moderate consistency for both within and between observers.
And what about the grading of the nasopharyngeal collapse? No, partial, or complete? That seems like a very clinically relevant assessment.
For the collapse grading, both methods showed moderate consistency within the same observer.